meeting. It's January 22nd, 2024 at 4:59. We've got myself, Ryan Lynch, County Clerk, and board member. We have Tony Singleton, board member, Republican appointee, and Andrew Steele is out sick today. In the audience we have, we'll start the meeting. We have no true old business to really talk about as of now. New business, we have polling location changes for St. Stephen's and Cook Memorial in Jeffersonville. There's not a whole lot to talk about that right now because it's still kind of early. We're still looking. St. Stephen's and Cook Memorial both reached out to us in end of November, early December, stating that they no longer wish to be polling locations. So we are in the process of looking for other options and reaching out to other locations. Once we will hopefully be able to confirm and vote to solidify those replacements in our February meeting. Tony, got anything to add on that one?
No, only, or I guess just to say it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I know you've reached, my understanding at least, you've reached out to a few of the other churches in the area right around there.
Yes, we've reached out to, I believe it's East Side, and they have declined to be a polling location. So now we're just kind of looking at what other options that we do have in that area. We're limited because it's a highly residential few precincts.
St. Stephen's right across the road from River Valley?
It is. It's down the street. It's just about maybe a 3/4 of a mile down the road. So moving them to moving them to River Valley is a one of the things that we're looking at. But because there's a lot of voters to go there, we're still kind of looking at all of our options before we focus on one. So hopefully by next meeting in February not hopefully, we definitely we'll have a decision by then. We should at least. So now we have next, if that's everything on that one. The next we have our schedule approval for the monthly meetings for this year. We can't vote on to approve it right now because we do not have Andy here. But tentatively, we do have a schedule. Normally, right now we're doing the third Monday of each month here in the voter registration office at 4:45. I don't foresee that changing unless you have any schedule changes for that.
No, I mean, if I could say that given my new status here being in the building,
sure.
If you wanted to go earlier, I mean, to go back to 4:30, I'm available.
Sure.
But either works for me.
Okay. I think 4:45 works probably better for people that are coming in. But yeah, so we'll need to vote on this next or in February, which we will post when we have the exact date for that meeting. But again, it should be the third Monday.
Wow.
Oh nope, the third Monday is President's Day, so it'll be the next Monday tentatively. But we'll post it on. We'll let everyone know when that is finalized. And then after that, we'll have the meetings. We'll vote on the meetings for the rest of the year. So that's all for that. IEC 22 form needs to be signed. We've signed it. I believe that's our inventory that we have to submit to the state. But two of the three have signed it, and that's really all there is for that one. That's all the business that we have today. If anybody either of you have anything else to say that you would like to state on the record or anything like that, now is the chance.
Well, I want to say on record again that I am in favor of paper ballots, paper poll books, hand counted, results announced here at the courthouse before it gets sent to Secretary of State. I hope you all are keeping track of news and things that come out about the DS200 machines being potentially hackable and all that good stuff. And I just hope that you're, willing to receive that information neutrally as it comes in. The other question I had was, we are gearing up for Republican Party precinct committee men to be submitting their candidacy forms with a due date of February 9th. So I'm a little unclear as to what will happen if they are challenged. I know that the 2 primary rule is kind of gray right now because of some court things going on, and the precinct committee people is a party position. It's not necessarily like a state position, so it's a little different. What happens if that is challenged by the party? Does it come to the election board? Does the potential candidate get to come before the election board to present evidence, or how does that work?
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So the way that I believe that usually works, and we've had one challenge last year. So what we will do is once we get the challenge, normally we will schedule a hearing, and any parties that are involved, whether both the person that is filing the challenge and the person that is being challenged, will have the opportunity to speak to the election board, plead their case, and that's when the determination takes place.
From your experience, and I don't know if you can answer this, but you would be one of the voting members. Is the chair of the party one of the voting members, or does the decision rest with the 3 of you, the 3 members of the election board?
I believe the decision rests with us.
Okay.
I don't know that you can, if you have any, but from my experience, it ends here. Like whatever's decided by the election board is what goes.
Okay.
And if there's a challenge beyond that, then that's a legal matter.
Right.
That would go to the circuit court to be dealt with.
Like if you all rule a certain way and then it's challenged, like for some sort of appeal, or what do you mean by that?
Well, as in any election, if you want to challenge something that is not, and certain matters are go directly to, the appropriate venue for that is the circuit courts, and I believe it's venued here in the Circuit 1. So that's the proper place to raise a challenge of an election. Certain matters would be the purview of the election board, but an actual challenge more often. I'm trying to think of scenarios where it would come to us. We would certify, but then once that certification happens, the courts, the challenging party as well as the challenged party would have their day really in court.
Yeah. If that's really if we made a ruling, we made a decision. If one of the parties didn't agree with the ruling, then they would have to. I'm fairly confident in this. They would have to file a lawsuit basically in order to overrule that, because you can't file a challenge against our challenge because it's you don't file the challenge against the the entity creating the challenge or making the ruling. So you would have a lot like with the with elections. Whenever you're filing a recount, you don't technically file the recount to us at all, because we've established what the results were. So then you file a lawsuit basically against the rules or against the results, and then that would be ultimately where then we wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
You mentioned you used the right word. It's really an appeal of our decision goes to the courts.
Okay, like an injunction or something.
Well, an injunction could be part of that.
Okay.
Injunctions, for instance, in 2000 was what stopped. The injunction is really what was challenged in Florida in 2000. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, and I don't know if you can answer this either, but would it play a role in the decision if the person who submitted a candidacy form just couldn't even reach the chair of the party? Like if the chair of the party were not even available to certify membership to the party, because that's one of the requirements. like you have to vote in 2 prior primaries or get a certification letter from the chair of the party. What if you can't even reach the chair of the party? They're not responding to emails or phone calls.
Sure.
Would that weigh into the factor, would you think?
I mean, I'm not gonna say that it would, but I'm not gonna say that, I can't say either way, honestly. But I would say, if there is a challenge, if I were challenged, I would bring whatever information that I think would be relevant. I mean, it's just like, it would be just like going to court. If you believe it's relevant, bring it up. It's up to you. I can't say whether or not it'll change anything, either way on this end.
Okay.
But if you think it's relevant, then bring whatever information you have.
Okay.
Would you disagree? Or?
No, again, I can't say how I would rule one way or another, or based on limited information, right?
Sure.
But I would say that, even when I was in private practice as an attorney, you bring everything, I tell my clients, bring everything in the office, let me review it, and we'll figure out what's relevant and what's not. And that would be the same, I think that's very good advice.
Okay. One additional thing is there anywhere listed on your website what positions are open for candidacy? I mean, do you
I'm working on that.
Okay.
It's been something that I was planning on doing it last week, but it's been very busy, and I haven't been able to sit down and do it. But it is on my list to get it out, to show a list of all the candidate, the positions that are open this year.
But the deadline for this upcoming election, is that February 9th for everybody, for the commissioners, for the coroner?
Yeah, I believe that's the deadline for major parties.
Okay, so maybe if you're working on that for the next election, it could come out a lot sooner, like what positions would be open, so that people can think well ahead of time whether they want to file for candidacy.
Sure.
And then is there any other way that a candidate can get onto the ballot after the deadline? Like, did you say there was another date where someone can run as an independent, or?
Yeah, so independents have their own date. I don't know what it is offhand. I believe it's the summer, sometime in the summer, June or July. And then same way with the other positions for the main parties. If there's an open seat that wasn't filled prior to the primary, then there's you contact the party, and there's like a caucus that you can have, and that date is, again, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's usually the first or second week of July.
Okay. If there's a caucus, sorry, I just thought of something else. If there's a caucus to fill those positions, do they need to reside within the district that they would be running for, or does the caucus allow people from outside the district or the precinct or whatever to fill the spot?
I think it depends upon what position.
Okay.
So political, if you're looking at political positions, like say your precinct committee people, that becomes a chairman's appointment after the primary, and that could be, they don't have to reside there, they just that's the chairman's purview. For positions, for elective positions on the ballot, there's it really depends upon the position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some for this ballot, for the purposes of this ballot, I don't know if there's anything that would be on, but for instance, if somebody could, I think, be caucused in, don't quote me on this, but as the tape recorder's running, but I think, for instance, you could have somebody out of county run for judge. They just have to reside in the county before they take office. So again, don't quote me on that, but I think there's a little quirk there.
Okay.
But different positions have different requirements.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, well, I'm just going to say, too, that I'm old school. I'm old enough to be your grandma, probably. But anyway, years ago when we voted, we used paper ballots, and it was hand counted, and everything was done, that day. And if you just watched recently in Iowa, their caucuses, it was done by, everybody had to have their ID, when they came. They did it by paper ballot. It was hand counted. And they knew by the end of the evening, what the final results were. And I just don't think we need these expensive computers. There's too much that can, go wrong. There's too many questionable things. Did the computer mess up? Was it, did it not count right? Was it hacked? Let's just go back to the old-fashioned way of voter ID, paper ballots, and counting them by hand and the results that night. It just makes so much more sense. And because right now in this atmosphere we have throughout the country, people are very skeptical of results. Did somebody cheat? Was it hacked? You just don't know. And to me, you want to be as cautious as possible. And that's why I really, really believe in paper ballots and hand counting. I was going to say something else too. Forgot. That's because I'm old, right?
I took too long.
Oh, I was going to say, on your website, where you have the campaign finance reports, and maybe this too is because I grew up before computers and everything, but I have a real difficult time every time I go to look up a campaign finance report. I'm clicking here and clicking there and clicking this. I thought, oh, that's not right. That didn't get me to the right place, so I click somewhere else. And it's very hard for me to actually get to drill down enough to actually find those campaign finance reports. If there could be some, I don't know, button or something that's more visible for people who aren't real computer savvy, to find them a little quicker or easier, it would be helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll definitely look into other options. And we're always looking at ways to improve our communication to everyone. So
some young people could probably do it like that. Older people, it's not so.
Well, it looks different now. When you all first did it, there was a search bar, and you could type in, and now you can't.
Yeah, so that changed. That changed because when I built it, and So when I first did the campaign finance the way that it was, I didn't realize the limit that it had on there, and then we got the limit, and I didn't want it to lapse to where nobody could find anything at all. So I just kind of made it something that I didn't have to pay for, just until I could figure out another option.
Okay.
So that's why the change, just because I didn't want them to go away. So you guys didn't, you all didn't have the opportunity to look for them. But I am looking at other options to see what we can do as far as making them searchable and making it a little easier to find. But I guess I just didn't want it to immediately go away so nobody could see.
I really appreciate that, because we do look at them often, and it saves you all a bunch of records requests. So.
Right, and it's easier. Everybody can just get on there and you can find it a lot easier instead of having to wait for us. And we're definitely trying to keep it, as we come up on those dates, those deadlines. Instead of putting them away, we're scanning them and putting them, on the system, and then putting them into the cabinet. So, I like it so far, but like I am looking around and trying to find what would be the best option for us to make it a little easier to navigate.
Great. Well, I think you all are doing a great job.
And we just need to get the people who are filing these reports to fill them out correctly.
Just start
maybe a
making our
little memo, not the whole booklet that tells them all that stuff, but a simple memo, that says on your contributions, be sure you have the person's name and their address. If the contribution is more than $1,000, be sure you have their occupation too. Something simple that, because some of them aren't going to read all the rules in the book, and some of them aren't very good with math, so I don't know, but it's very frustrating when they're not filled out right.
Well, like I said, you can always, if you want to file a complaint, you're always welcome to fill it out and send it to us.
Can it be a generic complaint, or we have to file for each one? This person didn't do this, and this person didn't do that.
Probably best to do it case by case. We have I think right now we have like 400 on the site at least. So it would be a lot to just go through them all. That's your all right as voters to do that. So, always welcome. Well, if that's not it, I will make a motion to recess until tentatively February 26th at 4:45.
Second.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.